Hi! Today we are talking about a very special modal verb, will. We use it mostly to form future tenses, like in these sentences, I will be late or they will have finished by Monday. But apart from that, will, being a modal verb, can express modality. What is it? We shall see today. But before we begin, let's take a little test. Which of the following sentences is incorrect? I don't know if she agrees. I don't know if she will agree. Or if she agrees, I'll let you know. Don't worry if you don't know the answer yet. You definitely will after this class. So let's begin. Will is a very versatile modal verb. It is used to form future tenses. It is used to express willingness and desire to do something, readiness to do something. It is also used in conditional sentences. It can be used as a synonym to shall, but what is the most important thing for us is to see the root, to see where all those meanings take their roots, because when you know that, it will be much easier to understand how this modal verb functions in the language. So, the 9 modal verbs of the English language, and let's begin. Will is read as will, with a short sound I, and mostly is used to speak about the future. Let's see. I will only speak to you again if you apologize. He won't do anything that's against the law. Will you give me a hand? So all of these sentences, they speak about something which is yet to happen in the future. But we also can see that they express something more. They speak about readiness and willingness of the speaker or of the subject to perform an action. Before we continue, I want to draw your attention to the entry of Oxford Learner's Dictionary about the noun will. Will as a noun means the ability to control thoughts and actions in order to achieve what you want to do, a strong and determined desire to do something that you want to do. It also means something what somebody wants to happen in a particular situation. And a will is also a legal document that says what is to happen to somebody's money and property after they die. A will is a countable noun. We are not talking about the third one now. I want to draw your attention to number 2, what somebody wants to happen. To understand the modal verb will, you should remember about this meaning of the noun will. What somebody wants to happen. Let's see. So will can express future. It can also express willingness or ability. That's what I have just been talking about. It can be used to make requests or offers. It is also used in conditional sentences when we speak about real conditions. We use it to issue commands, to express likelihood of something, and to speak of habitual events in the present, not in the future, by the way. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about each of these meanings separately. So we know that we use will to form all the 4 future tenses of the English language. Let's see. The guests will be here soon. This is the future simple tense. We don't know when exactly, but soon, sometime in the future. Don't ring me up at 7 a.m. I will be sleeping. This is the future progressive tense. It shows us an action in progress in the future. He will have finished the painting by his grandma's birthday. This is the future perfect tense. We speak about an action which will have been finished by a particular moment in the future. And the last one, next May, we will have been living in this town for a year. With the help of the future perfect progressive tense, we show that by a particular moment of time in the future, the action will have been going on, will have been continuing for a while. So we are not talking about the tenses today. I just wanted to demonstrate that we use the modal verb will in order to form all these four tenses. Okay, please note, when we speak about the future in the past, we cannot use will, we must use would. I will come tomorrow. He said he would come the following day. We'll be filming a lot. They said they'd be filming a lot. What happens here? The first sentence, I will come tomorrow, is my direct speech. But if somebody wants to report what I said, he or she will not be able to use will, because according to the sequence of tenses, we cannot use future in the past. That's why we have this term like future in the past. Yeah, that's where we use would instead of will. He said he would come the following day. If you noticed, we use the following day instead of tomorrow. This happens also according to the rules of sequence of tenses. Will be filming a lot. They said they'd be filming a lot. Again, we report somebody's words, but we do not use the future tense here. We use the so-called future in the past. Basically, we use would instead of will. Okay, future in the past. Will expresses willingness and ability to do something. That's what I started with, and that's very important. Let's look at the examples. We don't have any milk left. I'll go and get some. So yes, you're talking about the future, but also you're talking about your readiness, your willingness, and your ability to do it. Yeah, to go and buy some milk. I'll go and get some. The washing machine won't turn on. Here we are talking about the ability of the washing machine to turn on. Basically, what we want to say is that the washing machine doesn't work. It doesn't want to turn on again. Okay, please do the beds and I'll vacuum the floor. I'll do that. Again, we demonstrate our willingness to do something in the future. Yeah, so this, the idea of an action in the future and our willingness to do something, or our desire to do something, are intertwined here. This message will pop up every time I switch on the computer. I'm not talking about the future here, I'm talking about something which repeatedly happens in present. So will here denotes that the action happens every time I switch on the computer. And this is a present situation. We are not talking about something that will happen on a particular condition or tomorrow. That's what happens every time. You can use will like this too. She will not speak to me because of what I said yesterday. She does not want to speak to me because of what I said yesterday. Won't you go out with us tonight? Won't you? Won't you go out with us tonight? Do you want to go out with us? You should remember that there is a slight difference between a negative question and a positive one. If I ask, do you like apples and don't you like apples? These are actually two different questions. Do you like apples is a neutral one. Don't you like apples is a kind of surprise. Oh, how come you don't like apples, right? We can use will to express a request or an offer. Will you buy some bread for dinner? Will you post this letter for me, please? Will your friends join us for lunch? Please tell her I'd like to speak to her, will you? You'll have a piece of cake, won't you? The three first questions are requests. We are asking somebody to do something for us. The fourth question has a tag, will you? Yeah, will you? But basically, it is also a request, but just in a little bit different form. Yeah, please tell her I'd like to speak to her, will you? It's more like a command than a request. And the last one, you'll have a piece of cake, won't you? It's an offer. Okay, let's continue. Will is used in conditional sentences. If we decide to leave, we will let you know in advance. It's a real condition. We talk about a situation that may happen in the future. On condition that we decide to leave, we will tell you. You won't really need a car if you stay in the center of Rome. You will not need it on condition that you stay in the center of Rome, because it's absolutely useless. It's much easier to travel on foot. Unless it rains, we will go to the beach. On condition that it doesn't rain, we will go to the beach. All these sentences express something that may be real in the future. Yes, so we are talking about the first conditional, or the conditional of the first type. Nota bene, or please note that in all of these sentences you don't see will together with if. If we decide to leave, if you stay in the center of Rome, or if it rains, if it doesn't rain, unless it rains, yeah? These are three conditional clauses, subordinate clauses, right? And will is never used in them. According to the rules, you know that we must not use will in this half of the sentence, yeah, in this clauses. But it is only true for conditional subordinate clauses. Let's look. I don't know if she will agree. If she agrees, I'll let you know. The first sentence contains a subordinate clause, which is not a conditional clause. I don't know what. I don't know if she agree. I don't know what. I don't know if she will agree. If she wants to agree. If she desires to agree. So I don't know what. Here we can absolutely use will as a modal verb expressing willingness or desire to do something, because it's an object clause. I don't know what, an object clause. If she agrees, I'll let you know. If she agrees is a conditional clause here, so we must not use will. On condition that she agrees, a conditional clause. Will is not possible here. Let's take a closer look at sentences that contain if and will. If he will come, we will talk. Though this is a conditional clause, we use will here to demonstrate somebody's desire to come. If he is willing to come. If you will keep behaving like that, you will lose my friendship. Again, we have double will in this sentence. We use will in both the conditional clause and the main clause. Why? Because we want to stress its modal meaning. Yeah? We want to stress its modality. We want to show the willingness of the subject to perform an action. We're not talking tenses here. We're not talking about the future. We're not talking about anything else. We are talking about the willingness. Will here functions as an emphatic modal. It is used to show that the subject is willing to persist in their behavior. So we can paraphrase the sentence saying, if you want to continue behaving like that, you will lose my friendship. And another example is, if your computer will encode this file for me, I'll be able to save some time for other tasks. A computer is not a living being, it's a thing, yeah? But we can use will with objects, with things, to demonstrate that they are capable of doing something, that they have a power or characteristics good enough to perform a task. If your computer is capable of it or ready to do it. That's what we want to say. If your computer will encode this file for me, in other words, if your computer is capable of encoding this file for me. Okay, this is where we can use will in conditional clauses. We use will to issue commands. You will listen to what I say. I am your commander and you will obey my orders. I will teach that boy a lesson. He will not bring home any more of those stray cats. Your mother may excuse such behavior, but I will have none of it. Don't you ever lie to me, I will not have it. You will say no more or I will fire you. Will you be quiet? In these sentences, we can replace will with shall. It will have the same meaning. We command, we threaten, or we promise to do something. The last sentence, though it has a different word order, will you be quiet, is not a question. It's an emotional statement. Let's look at different ways we can issue commands. Will you please sit down? It's a polite request. You ask somebody to do something in a polite manner. Please sit down. It's an imperative mood and a neutral request. You use please to be more or less polite, but it's an order, a neutral one though. You will sit down is an emotionally colored order. You will sit down. Please note that you can also use would in similar situations. Though it wouldn't be a command, that would be a polite request. Would you like to sit down? It's actually an offer, a suggestion. Would you like to sit down? A polite question. Would you mind sitting down? A polite request. Would you mind if I sat down? A polite asking for permission. Similar to may I sit down and might I sit down. So, though we can use would in order to ask somebody to do something, we can also use it differently when we ask for permission to do something. When we suggest that we should do something and we are interested whether the other person is not against it. Would you mind if I sat down? Okay, will expresses likelihood or certainty. You will love the house, I'm sure of it. I know my friend very well and I can say that. You will love this house because I know his or her preferences. She will easily pass the test. She's well prepared. I expect that because I know that she is well prepared. He will come if he promised. He never falls back on his words. I know what kind of person he is and this is something that I'm certain of. He will come if he promised. Who is that young man? That will be the bride's cousin. That will be the bride's cousin. I believe it's the bride's cousin. That must be the bride's cousin. We can use must to express certainty. Now, one of the most interesting cases in which we use will, we use it to speak about our habits in the present. Let's look at two paragraphs. The first one is in the present. He will say something stupid to tease her and she will object to it. They will start arguing, she will lapse into silence. Each of them will regret not being wise enough to refrain. Eventually, he will always apologize to her in this or that manner. We see a situation which is a typical one for that couple. This is something that happens again and again in their relationship. We use will to express a habitual event, something that repeats itself over and over again. Now, to express the same idea but in the past, we would use would. He would say something stupid to tease her and she would object to it. They would start to argue, she would lapse into silence, each of them would regret not being wise enough to refrain. Eventually, he would always apologize to her in this or that manner. So what do we see here? Here we describe a situation which used to take place in the past. Something that was a habitual situation in the past, but doesn't happen in the present anymore. You can also use a semi-modal used to in all of these sentences. You can say, he used to say something stupid to tease her and she would object to it. What is actually more preferable because it gives a different tone to your sentences than used to. There is still a difference between these two. We cannot use would with emotions. Now, as I said, we can use will and shall interchangeably sometimes. What are these cases? Shall is only used for future time reference with I and we. I shall fly to Berlin next month. He will travel to Warsaw in January. So as you see, shall is used with I, will is used with he. But you can use will with any person you like. You can say I will, we will, they will, he will, she will, whatever. Shall is more formal than will. We shall see whether you qualify for this position or not. We will see what we can do in this situation. We'll see. So this second sentence is less formal than the previous one. And shall we is a suggestion, while will we doesn't have this meaning. Let's see. Shall we go to that new restaurant tonight? It's a suggestion. Shall we go there? Will you go to Jane's party on Friday? Is just a question. We ask a person what he or she is going to do on Friday. Shall is used in legal English to talk about laws and rules. Lessee shall keep all of the leased premises in sanitary condition. Lessor shall furnish lessee with copies of all property maps. The written informed consent form shall be signed and dated personally by the subject. These objections shall be considered in the corresponding subsections below. No person shall photograph, videotape, or otherwise record the image of a voted official ballot. What do we see here? We see that all of these sentences were taken from some contracts or agreements or any other documents. And this is where you will mostly see the modal verb shall. Now let's look at some lyrics in which we can see will. Once upon a time, people fell in love and they stayed in love. It never crossed their mind not to see it through when they said I do. This modern world changes so fast, hearts break apart, like they're made out of glass. It's getting hard to believe in love that can last. I will if you will. I will if you will by John Barry. So I will, this is the phrase that you say when you get married. I will if you will. I will love again, though my heart breaks, I will love again. Stronger than before, I will love again, even if it takes a lifetime to get over you. Heaven only knows. I Will Love Again by Lara Fabian. Both of these texts show us both willingness to do something and the future. Yeah, will here expresses that something will happen in the future because the subject desires this, because the subject wants this. I will love again. Once again, I remind you to Google these songs we discuss in our classes and translate the text for yourself if you need it. That kind of practice improves your language very much because this way you not only learn some new words and have fun, but also memorize grammar structures. When you listen to a song again and again, it's very hard not to memorize them, right? Okay, I believe this is all I have to say about the modal verb will. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Subscribe to this channel and see you in the next lesson.